Hey everyone, welcome to the faster way to fat loss. I'm going to pull up my screen, so just give me 1 second. I am so excited that you all are here and that you've invested in your own health and wellness journey. I've spoken to many of you. There are still a few that I need to speak to, and I will definitely have a link on this page for you to look at and schedule a call. I really like to connect with my clients so that I can see what their goals are, help them set up their macros, and just get started and get to know you. I feel like I've done a few of these already, and the one piece that really I miss is that connection. So one, I do want to connect with all of you one-on-one via face-to-face. So I've been doing those through Zoom if you haven't done one already. And then secondly, you can schedule a one-on-one discovery call just to check in weekly if that is what you choose as well. I am your Faster Way to Fat Loss coach. My name is Carmel Stetler, and I will tell you, I found this program a long time ago, back in 2014, but at the time I did not need it. So I'm going to start with my personal journey through the Faster Way to Fat Loss and why I decided to become a coach. And then we'll go into the topic of training for this week. This is just prep week. So there's a lot that you are going to learn. I want you to take a deep breath and give yourself grace. We are taking baby steps towards getting to where I am today. I know that a lot of you are a little overwhelmed with tracking macros. It's not something that you'll do for the rest of your life. It is a tool for you to collect data and really get an understanding of how to fuel your body properly in order to lose weight, lose fat, maintain weight is where you will eventually be. But it's just the more sustainable way. The science behind this gets me all nerdy because it makes sense to me. And if you have done the different types of diets, programs, all the things, and you have been frustrated with it, I really do want you to take a step into giving yourself grace. This is just a journey. The first 6 weeks is all about learning the strategies to the faster way to fat loss. And about week 4, 5, and 6 is when you'll really get a hang of learning how to track tracking your macros with ease is what I want to say. So the first 6 weeks is really about learning the strategies. And after the 6 weeks and implementing them consistently is where you'll definitely get more results. My before and after was shared by my personal coach, and someone reached out to me and asked me what the time frame was. My time frame started back in August, and that before and after picture was in August, and the after picture was just last week. So just want you to I want you to put that into perspective, that this journey might take a little longer than some of the diets that you've done in the past, but this is really going back to the basics, how we are meant to eat and how we are meant to move our body. But with the faster way, we are eating and working out with intention to purposely make our body become a fat burning machine and an energy producing machine. So take a deep breath. We are going to learn together. I am here to coach you along the way and really help you see that you can achieve the feeling of energy, less bloating, and it's going to start to give you that hope that you have lost along the way. If you are in midlife, and many of you are, maybe you lost that that feeling of actually seeing results. So I just want you to give yourself that grace and time that you're going to need. So really quickly, my story was, I've always been healthy and fit. I'm in my 50s. I probably hit perimenopause in my mid 40s, and I really didn't start experiencing the symptoms of menopause till 2019, the hot flashes. And I was trying to figure it out on my own. How many of you have said that? I can figure out this on my own. I can really apply what I've learned in the past and really help me feel fit and confident in my body, and apply those strategies to my life today. And I want to tell you, if you have hit a wall, you're not seeing the results that you have once been able to achieve, and you're frustrated, there's a reason why we aren't seeing the results that we did back when we were in 30s and 40s. There's so much changing in our body, but I'm not going to go into that. That's where I was. I was frustrated, just like you. I was starting to lose hope, just like you. I was lacking confidence in my own skin, just like you. But when I saw a post from my coach with the Faster Way, I said to myself, I think if I can dial in my nutrition, I dialed in my gut health. I knew that a big portion of it had to do with my gut health, but my nutrition was not dialed in. I might be able to start to see results. And I will tell you, like, as I progressed through the 6 weeks, I was maybe not seeing the results I normally would see in that time frame. However, I stayed focused. I stayed on course because I knew that maybe I achieved results a lot faster in my 30s than I do in my 50s. And I really had to embrace that, right? I didn't step on the scale. I took my measurements. I did my before and afters. And it wasn't until the last week, 6 weeks, where my coach had suggested filling out the survey, getting your side by side together, measuring your body. It wasn't until I gathered that data that I noticed there had been a change. And it just dawned on me that every woman in menopause should experience the Faster Way because of the results that I was feeling. But then I thought to myself, well, maybe it's just me. And then I started to help more clients. And, I get a lot of clients that say my hot flashes have minimized tremendously. That's a huge win. So that's pretty much my journey and how I got here. The results speak for itself. The science behind this program speak for itself. So if you implement the strategies that I teach you, and you hold yourself accountable to tracking your macros and leveraging me and the community of this group to support you and cheer you on and to make sure that you're on track, you are going to see a difference. But I don't want you to think that you'll see difference in 1 week, in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. There's certain things that you will notice, but maybe not the lean muscle mass that maybe you are experiencing. You will get there. So that's a little bit about me. Let's dive into intermittent fasting and whole food nutrition. And after I have spoken to many of you, I understand that majority of us have been doing intermittent fasting, but the next phrase that came out of your mouth was, but I think I've been doing it wrong. So, or I think I've been doing it right, but I've been messing up my hormones. So very common. And that's where we're going to shift things. So I'm excited that most of you have done intermittent fasting, but for those of you that have not done intermittent fasting, what is it? It is not a diet, first of all. It is simply an eating schedule. It is beneficial for your body to be in a digestive rest for a longer period of time versus always being at a fed state, which is what majority of the people in the United States are. We are constantly eating. How many of you have been told, eat 6 meals a day, right? When we're eating 6 meals a day, our body never gets to that point of digestive rest and never gets an opportunity to tap into the resources that it already has because we fueled our body. Then if we're not tapping into the fuel that we've put into our body, it then transforms to stored fat, and then we struggle with weight loss. So it's a vicious cycle. So with intermittent fasting, we are giving our body that longer period of time of digestive rest so it can tap into the glucose stores, the fat, in order to burn for energy, and so that we can maximize our metabolism and lose weight. So when we implement this strategy, you have a longer fasted period and a shorter feeding window. So what does that look like as far as a schedule looks like? So I'm going to share my schedule and how I do this intermittent fasting. I'm going to stop sharing for a quick second. So for me, what I typically do is I eat, I finish dinner by 7-ish, and then if I finish my dinner around 7:30, I'm opening up my window of eating about 11, which puts me about 16 hours. Sometimes it goes to 12 in the afternoon, but that is my fasting window. And then I will eat from 11 to 7. And that is what works for me. So if you are a night shift worker and that doesn't work for you, you have to figure out where that 16 hours is that you can fast, and that 8-hour window of eating. So we just have to work towards finding what works for you and your schedule. The key, though, the goal is to be fasting for 16 hours with an 8-hour window, unless you and I have discussed otherwise what would be best for you. Majority of the people are able to do 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating. But if you and I haven't talked yet, we'll discuss more in detail. So that's what that looks like. That's what our goal is working towards. So if you've never experienced intermittent fasting before, what I recommend is push this whole week, push your breakfast out an hour, each day, an hour, each day, an hour, until you get to a full 16 hours. So when I am fasting and I break my fast at 11 o'clock, that is when I have my first meal. So instead of having my breakfast at maybe 6 a.m. in the morning or 7 a.m. in the morning, which is very typical for most Americans that are not intermittent fasting, we're switching that time to a later time. So we're eating later, we're basically eating brunch, and we have a shorter window of time to actually eat. So, which is a benefit. So that is the what. Let us talk about, I believe we're talking about the how next. So really quickly, let's talk about this. Let me make my screen a little bit bigger because I don't know about you, my eyes have gotten bad. So the benefits of intermittent fasting, there are so many: reduced inflammation, improved sleep, increased energy, greater mental clarity, better digestion, decreased insulin levels, increased insulin sensitivity, maintenance of skeletal muscle mass, slowing of brain aging, bioblockers, and boosted immunity. That's a lot of benefits for intermittent fasting. And I know that the first thing that comes to most people's minds is that hangry phase. Well, we never get to that phase because of how we are fueling our body. You'll see that when you get to the eating window and you're starting to track your macros, there many times people say, but I feel full. But we'll get into that in more detail. So what breaks your fast? This is the protocol that we follow with the Faster Way, is you want to follow this flow chart to finding out what breaks your fast. You can have black coffee, tea, bone broth, during the fasting window, and water and electrolytes you can have, and bone broth. So those things you can have during your fast. It will not break your fast. What breaks your fast is if it has sweetener, if it has more than 50 calories, if it has fiber, it will break your fast. If it has stevia, it will not break your fast. So you don't have to worry about Oh, wait, hold on. Vice versa. Stevia. Oh, even I'm like confused about this flow chart. Okay, so stevia is fine. It will not break your fast. So make sure you look at your ingredient listing, but this is the protocol and the flow chart that you can follow if you grasp it pretty quickly. All right, the how. So we talked about the how a little bit already, right? The 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of protocol of eating. During the fasting window, we limit our calories to consume during the fasting window to 50 total and consume little to no fiber at all. So there's a few complaints that do occur when you are learning or experiencing fasting for the first time. And the common complaints that we hear are lightheadedness, weakness, fatigue, headache. And it's not a glucose issue or electrolyte issue. Basically, what we need, sorry, let's take that back. It's not a glucose issue. It's an electrolyte issue. We need sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So that's when we drink the electrolytes that will really be beneficial at this point. It's most likely a detox from all the processed foods you've been eating in the past. So it will subside. You won't experience this all the time. If anything, drink lots and lots of water and electrolytes to really flush that out of your system. But those are the common complaints that we get when people start intermittent fasting. So why do we intermittent fast? Well, the biggest is that we are transitioning our body from being a sugar burner to becoming a fat burner. And this is the huge benefit of intermittent fasting. Instead of burning off glycogen, we will now be able to burn fat for fuel. And that is one of the biggest benefits to intermittent fasting. So let me just talk to you really quickly about what's happening to your body. Let me just look at my notes really quick, make sure I did not lose. Okay, yeah, let's talk about this. So like I said, we are switching from sugar burner to fat burner, which is what we really want. We really want to shed that fat. We want that fat to melt away from our body and become a lean machine. So many of you are coming from fat to faster way with maybe years of 6 mini meals a day. And you've been told by the wellness and fitness industry, I've been told at one point that you should do this in order to rev up your metabolism. However, there's no real evidence or research to prove or support this concept. In fact, we are able to optimize and maximize your metabolism and accelerate fat loss with this intermittent fasting strategy. Glucose and glycogen is the preferred energy source for our body. It takes roughly 12 hours to fully digest your last meal. Burn through the glycogen stores. And when we eat 6 small meals a day, you never completely burn through those glucose and glycogen stores that your body is not allowing your body to dip into that fat stores, because we're constantly eating. We're always eating and refueling those glucose and glycogen stores because we are never at digestive rest. Also, when we are at a fed state, anytime your body is digesting food, your body's storage and building hormones. When your insulin is high, it prevents you from using body fat to make energy in the fasted state, that 8 to 12 hours after your body finishes digesting. When your insulin is low, you are better able to use body fat to make energy. And once your body has burned through the glucose and glycogen, you then start to tap into the fat stores and become a fat burning machine. So basically, this is when the magic happens in the few hours after you've completed digesting your last meal. This is how you become a professional fat burner. So that is why we intermittent fast. These are the benefits that you will experience with intermittent fasting. When we get to learning more about macros and our carbohydrates, fats, and our proteins, and why we need to make sure we're fueling pretty close to our macro goals, we want to stay focused in that. We will talk more about that and why it's important to really stay focused in meeting those goals. So I'm going to move on to whole food nutrition. This week, we are also focusing in on whole food nutrition. Wrong screen. Let me see, where is that? Okay, here we are. So whole food nutrition. Where did I go? Whole food nutrition. Let me share my screen. What is whole food nutrition? Basically, it's easily explained this way. If it has a mother or comes from the ground, it is fair game. Whole foods have fewer ingredients and they are easily pronounced. If you can read it, eat it. Most processed foods will have words you've never seen before or words that are hard to pronounce. Here's the thing, you can eat all the processed food and still hit your macro goals, which we will be discussing in another week, but it won't be nearly as healthy as whole food diet because you'd be missing out on essential micronutrients that whole foods can actually give you. Let me see here, let me move this over. So the whole foods have not been modified and have not been processed. They have no added sugar or chemicals. They are simply whole foods. Whole foods generally have more micronutrients than processed foods. These micronutrients include vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and other bioactive compounds that are good for our bodies and that our body needs. You talked about that. So basically what I want you to do is I want you to focus on consuming vegetables, fruit, lean protein, complex carbohydrates. Okay. When I say carbs, I know I don't want you guys to shy away from carbs. I'm talking about complex carbohydrates, which include potatoes, rice, beans, starchy veggies, quinoa, gluten-free oats, and fruit. If you follow along the meal plan in the Faster Way app, you will be eating whole foods. Use that guide. Allow it to take the stress of planning and figuring out what to eat. I will give you tons of suggestions as we go along. If you stick around in my stories, you'll see me make certain things. You'll see me create meals. You'll also see me share some recipes that maybe you might want to experience. So I definitely want you to stay connected with me on Instagram if you haven't already. My number one tip though for you is when it comes to whole food nutrition is keep it simple. Do not overcomplicate it. It's a lot to process all at once, but try to keep it as simple as possible. Another goal we have is to avoid processed foods and other inflammatory foods like gluten and dairy that are producing inflammation in your body and may cause bloating. So many of you through the next several days will start to see and experience the benefits of eliminating gluten and dairy pretty much immediately, and will notice that you're feeling lighter, less bloated, your skin is clearing up, less aches and pains. You're not having the digestive issues you were having before if you have been used to eating a lot of processed foods prior to starting this program. So we encourage this mainly because gluten and dairy products are genetically modified in our modern society and wreak havoc on our system. So I definitely would I would definitely try to utilize gluten-free and dairy-free as much as possible. Some alternatives to dairy is feta and goat cheese. Does this mean that you have to give up your gluten and dairy for the rest of your life? No, it does not. I'm trying to get back. Hold on. Let's see. Let me stop here and share again. So it does not mean that you have to cut out dairy and gluten and dairy out for the rest of your life. You can start to incorporate it back into your life after the 6 weeks. So that you can eliminate any of that inflammation that is caused by those particular foods. I really want to touch upon alcohol really quick because it is a question that I'm getting, and then I'll go ahead and wrap it up. So I want you to do your best to limit throughout the week. And here's why. Your body prioritizes alcohol metabolism over any other metabolism happening at that time in your body. So basically, what happens is that your body is going to metabolize the alcohol first and pause the fat burning until it is done metabolizing alcohol. So that is one of the biggest reasons why I want you to utilize alcohol as a treat, specifically maybe on Saturday. But if you're having a glass of wine every night, you're basically putting your fat burning on pause, and your body is actually going to prioritize burning that alcohol first. So that is why I want you to try to minimize your alcohol consumption for that reason. Get back here, sorry. And hold on. So let's go ahead and recap. Let me just find myself here. All right, so to recap, this week, our focus is on intermittent fasting for 16 hours with an 8-hour eating window. We want to focus on incorporating whole food nutrition, and we want to minimize alcohol to maybe 1 day a week. Practice. These are the things I want you to start to do. I would love for you to start tracking your macros and just kind of getting some experience doing that. I want you to learn how to use the app. Stick with the page because I will have daily posts that will help you learn a little bit more, whether it be about intermittent fasting or whole food nutrition or how to utilize the app. The other thing I want you to start to do is this week, try a HIIT workout on the app. And I want you to try a strength training workout at least once in the app. You can do any exercise that you choose. All right, I'll talk more about this in detail, but we specifically pair how we work out with how we eat for reasons that you will learn next week. So on Thursday, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm going to be doing, since this training is not live, I'm traveling on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And on Thursday, I'm going to do a live Q&A. I will have a post up available for you to list your live Q&A, your Q&A questions that you want answered. But I will also tell you, utilize this page as your community. I want you to build this community. I have found that the people that interact with this group and support each other and cheer each other on really connect and bond with each other, regardless of where you are geographically, but it really helps you to be experiencing this 6 weeks and supporting each other. That's what I love about the Faster Way. It's about community and accountability. And that's really what a lot of people need these days during their fitness journey. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And if you have questions on Thursday, I will answer them. You will see a post as to what time I will have that live Q&A. And if you can't get the live Q&A, you can always watch the recording or the replay. All right, you guys, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.